Hi, I'm Charlotte and this is the School of Pattern Cutting. In this video I'm going to show you how to change your very tight neckline on your basic block into a round, deep neckline. And we actually had somebody asking us to do us in the comments, and it's a really interesting thing because people just think necklines are really easy, just draw a line, but to do a good line is actually really tricky because it's so simple. So if you get any line wrong, it's really unflattering. So thank you for your comment, it was really great. Keep on giving us suggestions because there's lots of things we don't think about. So I'm going to show you how to lay out your neckline, what's important to consider, and then I'm going to draft it. So what I've got is some Chauvin tape. It's really good because it's really thin and you can use it to draw lines, and you can also take it off again. And it's got little marks, black and white, and they're centimeters. So if you're really precise, you can actually measure your neckline perfectly. So what I'm gonna do, so this is really high. Basically your basic block follows the seam lines on your mannequin. So that's gonna hit right above your collarbone. So I'm gonna sort of put it halfway in between my bust point and my collarbone, and you always want to start at a right angle at the front, just in case it's first of all a fold or seam, and also you don't want a kink, because otherwise if you have it slightly curved, it's either going to look like a V-neck or it's just going to look really strange. So you either have to be perfect right angles, and I'm going to lay it out now, but then on the once I'm drafting in the paper, I'm going to make sure I'm using my pattern master. And then you're going to use your Chauvin tape and you go so slightly up. And then the important bit is, what you don't want to do is go too deep at the neck. Well, in my case, you might want to do a really deep line, but basically the more you go out at the back, the more your neck is going to stretch. So if you want to have a deep neckline at the front, but keep the top fitted and up on your shoulders, you need to go really high on your back. If you go too far away and too much down, your neck is just going to stretch and fall down. So at the back, I'm going to stay as close as possible to my original line. And it's also sort of, it gives you quite a nice effect where it's sort of quite fitted at the back, and then going round, it suddenly plunges down. As you can see, this is a bit curved, it's gone a bit weird here, so you can use the tape to straighten out your line. Okay, and as I'm drawing it on paper, I will make sure I've got a really nice curve as well. So this is my basic deeper round neckline. So I'm now going to take off my twirl and then I'm going to show you how to draft it. Let's have a look at our round neck in more detail. As you can see, I've taken my twirl off a mannequin and I've laid it out, and you can see my curved neck. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm actually now gonna measure all these distances and write them up so I can draft my pattern. I want to keep that twirl because it's got a sleeve on it, but in theory you could just cut off that bit of calico and then lay it on your bodice block. So that's the fastest way of doing it. But I'm gonna show you a way of keeping like your twirls intact, and also sometimes you might actually want to go back and change it, and if you cut up your twirl you can't. So you're gonna measure it and transfer it. So let's get a piece of paper. Okay, so the first thing I want to measure, I'm gonna put all my measurements on here. So this is my front, and then I've got my shoulder seam, and I also got my back. So the first thing I need to measure is how far I went down the center front. So in my case, I'll move it so you can see it properly. In my case, I went down 7 centimeters. I'm also going to take a measurement at the shoulder, which is 3.5. And then I'm also going to measure at the back. I've only gone down very little, which is what you're supposed to do. So that is 2 centimeters. Okay, so I've got these most important measurements. But as you can see, it's getting this curve right. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to actually count, as you can see, if each black and white line is a centimeter, I've got 1, 2, got 20 centimeters and 2 mils. So my curve at the front is 20.2, and then at the back it's 11.3. Okay, so this is a way of, I can either use another piece of tape which is exactly the same length on my paper pattern, and I can also use the measurements on my pattern master to get the same length. I'm gonna take a third measurement just down here in the middle, so I've got 1, 2, 3 measurements on the curve, and I'm gonna do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At the 10 centimeters, I'm gonna measure again. So this is a bit over top, and I'm gonna do it the right. Actually, I'm gonna measure it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So from 4 to the 10, it is 6 centimeters. So I'm gonna say 6 centimeters. Okay, so I've basically got lots of measurements, and I always think if you're drafting from a garment or trowel in paper, you want as many measurements as possible. Because if you're lucky enough to have a garment rather than a picture, use it well. Okay, so let's trace around my bodice blocks. So as usual, I need my blocks, but this time I need my front and my back because I'm drafting the whole neckline. And mine are right hand body blocks, but I'm actually going to use them the other way around, so I got exactly the same measurement. And I'm only going to go around the neck, but in most cases you're going to probably draft the whole bodice, but I'm going to just show you how to just draft your neckline. Okay. And then I'm going to lay on my back so both the shoulder points match, and I continue drafting. And this is just so it's easier, so I can draw one beautiful line, and then later on, of course, you need to cut it at the shoulder or trace it if you prefer it. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to mark all my measurements. So I'm going to start 7 at the center front. Then I know I've got 3.5 here. And then I've got just 2 at the back. And I know I'm going to have one measurement 4 centimeters in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my 6 centimeters. So what I'm going to do now, it's got in a different color. I'm just going to do a dotted line, and I'm going to actually refer back to my paper pattern. I'm thinking it started out at sort of a right angle quite nicely. And then it's around here, it's 6 centimeters. I'm just quickly gonna dot it. And then I'm gonna measure the line. And again, here it's right angles, because at your center back again it's a fold, so you want it perfect. So I've just got a dotted line, just so I can quickly, measure it, and once I've done that, I can draw it in a proper pen. So I need 11 centimeters at the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11. And then the same at the front. I need 20. So if I just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to move it along now because I haven't got 20 centimeters. 20. So that is perfect. So this is quite a cumbersome way of doing it because it's actually transferring all lines. The easier way would be to cut it off, but I'm going to show you the proper way. So now I'm happy with my curve. I think it's a bit clunky here, so I'm going to use my pattern master to make it a bit more beautiful. So I start out with a right angle, and then I want to keep it just really smooth. So I start, and I'm using a horrible thick pen. So if you're using a pencil, you can really just gently draft your line. And then you move your pattern master as you go along. And then you might just sort of need to turn it around because now I want the really soft curve. So I start with a really more extreme curve, and now I want to soften it, and I want to keep it. It should look like it's one continuous curve, and I always think a curve is better if it's more straight than too curved. Okay, like here it's getting, as you can see, it's like nearly straight, and I'm actually slightly withdrawing my line. And then I'm just making sure I've got a nice right angle. So if you want to start with a right angle, always make it a bit longer when you need it. So that way you can start with a lovely curve. Okay, so it just comes out of a right angle, it goes around. And that is your new neckline. So you mark your center front. And that is your deep round neckline transferred onto paper. The next thing I would do is I would cut it out and just quickly draft, put your seam allowance on, and then quickly cut out the trowel, put it on the mannequin to make sure you like it, and then you can draft your whole pattern. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much. Bye bye.